Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a quick look at this brushless DJI Neo knockoff. This is pretty neat because it's got brushless motors, has obstacle avoidance on the top if you choose to use that. But it's a little bit, I think it's larger than the Neo knockoff I did last April. That was actually a brush version. This is a little bit more advanced, and a little bit more expensive than that one. So let's take a look at the box here. This says this name for this one is the Z4 Max. I think it's the Z4 GT3 is what it's called. It's its full name on the Aliexpress listing. And you get a 1S LiPo with it. It's a 3.7 volt, 1800 milliamp. It's going to charge off USB-C. And they give you, inside your goodie bag here, you get all your extra props, your charging cable, Phillips screwdriver, and they give you a USB micro SD card reader and a card because this has that pretty neat large FPV screen, and to actually record the video you're going to use the micro SD card slot there. Next to it is USB-C for charging the internal battery. These screens are pretty cool. They're meant to look like a DJI screen, but it allows you to not have to use your phone. Now if you want to use your phone, you're just going to pull this out on the top here. And this is your phone clip holder. And the app you're going to use for that is the KYUFO app. And that's the app you'd use if you're going to use your phone. But if you just turn this thing on, you just press the power button there and you have a little animation. And then if your drone's connected, you select your language there, which I'll select English whenever I have my hands free. And you'll get your FPV feeds. That frees up having to mess with your phone. Now the screen's got some controls for the actual screen on the side here to navigate through. But then up here you've got your speed rates on the left, and on the right here is to tilt the camera because the camera is motorized. You'll hear the servo there. It also has optical flow here on the bottom, it looks like. And we'll try to test that out. That's going to allow the drone to kind of stay in one's position as it kind of looks at the ground and analyzes the ground. And it looks like that this is, it looks like there's a little pinhole camera in there. So we'll see how stable that is. Now the controls for this, as I said, otherwise you've got some controls over on the side, that 360 or 360 flips. The one below it there, long press for obstacle avoidance, short press for your light control. So you're going to turn off some of the LED lights on that one on the bottom here, right over here. I'm going to get my finger. This one here, that's your obstacle avoidance and light control. Over on the other side here, you've got some controls, which the top one right here is going to be your one key return to fly backwards. And then the bottom one below that is your headless mode right here. Here in the middle is going to be your, I believe, your gyro calibration. And then the one next to here on my thumb is your auto takeoff and landing. All right, guys, that wraps up kind of a quick overview. Let's get this drone outside now and see how well it flies, so I'll be right back. All right, let's get this drone up in the air and see how well it performs. And one thing really quick I want to note is this controller, all these controllers like this with a large screen, I've never had one of these that actually will record the video correctly to the SD card. In fact, the SD card that came with this just had some files in it that had no extensions and wouldn't play. In fact, I couldn't even give them a copy to my computer. I think the SD card was corrupted. I did try formatting it in the controller and it made no difference. I put in a better card of mine and it does work, but just like the other ones that I've had, you end up with a bunch of random clips of different file size and you don't get all your video. So for that reason, I'm going to be using the app here. So I've got it connected to the app, the KYUFO app. So that's what I'm going to be using for this video, just so I can record some video, hopefully, assuming the app doesn't crash. But if I was just going to fly this regularly, I'd be using the screen for FPV and I wouldn't worry about recording the video. Now this drone is only 130 grams. I did weigh it and I'll show you a picture. So no concerns flying this thing in the US and needing anything like remote ID on it. So let's go ahead and put it down here on the ground. Stand up here and let's start recording some video. I'm not gonna, I could attach my phone to the controller, but it's a lot lighter than not. So I'm just gonna set it over here because I'm not gonna worry about, just make sure that it's still connected, and it is. I'm not gonna worry about, you know, FPV feed for this flight because this is gonna be more for you guys to see how well this drone flies. All right, let's go ahead and do an auto, let's do the gyro calibration first. And now let's go ahead and do an auto takeoff. It should calm down, and it is now. So I threw this indoors and it was very, very stable. Let's go ahead and bring it up here a little bit. Let's see if how the optical flow works. I can see it following my hand here, so it definitely is working. Kind of took off to the right when I first took off, but once the optical flow started working, everything worked fine. This is the lowest rate. Let's go up. 2 beeps, and now we can get a little bit more pitch, but it's still struggling a little bit. There's not much wind, and that's full speed into the wind. You can see barely moving. Let's go 3. Now we can start moving the highest rate. It's not a quick drone. There's not much breeze either. But look at this, it's full throttle, and it's struggling. That's one of the problems with these brushless drones when they're only using a 1S LiPo, because going this way it's going to be much quicker with the wind that's back. And keep in mind, there's not much wind today. But otherwise it flies great. But it's not going to be super sporty. I mean, that's full throttle into the wind. Indoors it was great. So it's really a drone that you're going to want a calm day to fly. They really need to put 2S LiPos in these just to give the brushless motors more power, because brushless motors shouldn't have a problem. Let's try some 360 flips while we have sufficient battery power here. Let me get it up a little higher. Let's let it try to calm down here. And see, it's kind of backing up a lot. Let's get it over here. Try to let the optical flow. Well, it really wants to take off. I'm gonna try to land it here. Let's get in a level surface here and do that gyro calibration. Because when I left the sticks, it wanted to go backwards. This thing was super stable when I flew it indoors. But I'm surprised at how much it struggles in the wind. Let's do that gyro calibration. Now let's go ahead and just do a manual takeoff, both sticks in, and then just give it throttle. So let's hope that the app is still recording. That's pretty good there. Let's take it up higher. Let's just do some 360 flips here. There we go. And that's that far right top button. It's 360 flips. Now I'll show you guys that I can't, since I don't have the phone attached, if I switch to the screen, it's going to cut off it cuts off the Wi-Fi. You've got to have the screen turned off to use, I think I said that a while ago, if I didn't, to use the Wi-Fi to the phone, but I'll take it up here and, all right, so let's see if we can tilt the camera, even though I don't have the phone connected. Since I can't see which way I'm aiming here, I'm going to bring it down just real quick and see which way do I have to rotate the dial here. The right dial, and to the right is rotating it down. So let me take it up, and that's down, and then back this way, it's going to rotate it back up. I'll kind of look off this way. So it'll do those herky-jerky movements you guys are pretty used to seeing on these toy drones. It's flying pretty good now. The wind is really, there's not much wind, like I said. Now I'm not going to be testing optical avoidance. The sun is to my left. You look at my garage door over here, all the glare. This is not going to work because the sunlight has infrared light as well, and it interferes with infrared sensors on these drones, and they just don't detect anything. They're really meant for indoors. They're very gimmicky. Also, they have almost no pitch. It'll be like the first speed rate, and you can't hardly move to even hit anything. So they're just a terrible idea. I don't know why they include them. They figured that people are going to want to buy it because, well, it's got optical avoidance too and optical flow. But it doesn't do anything good. All right, guys, we got a low voltage warning, so it's not, I figured with that little battery, it's not going to be a super long flyer. But overall, this is not bad. But honestly, the brushless motors, you'd expect a little bit more power over brushed. So that's kind of a shame. But again, on these budget brushless drones now, they're always powered on a 1S LiPo, and I really want to see them on a 2S. and this thing would have a lot more power. But it's going along pretty good though. Look, it's not bad. Overall, I can't complain. It's under 50 bucks for a brushless Neo knockoff. You get the screen that as long as you don't want to record video, then it's not a problem. And it works, the screen works quite well. But keep in mind that this screen is not very bright. Let me go ahead here and land it. I'm just going to go over here and see, make sure that we saw a video recording and go ahead and stop that so we do capture the video. And then I can turn on the screen here and let you guys see. Yeah, we got video going. We had about 6.5 minutes there. Let me go ahead and disconnect the Wi-Fi from the phone real quick. Okay, I just had to disconnect the Wi-Fi from my phone so then it would connect to the screen, and hopefully you guys can see here. You know, you can control the screen brightness. Of course, you want that all the way up. It's not that bad. When I'm looking at the sun, of course, it's a problem. But over here, I absolutely can see what I'm doing here. I'm just wobbling the drone a bunch. You can see how that will be just fine for most conditions. But like I said, if you use the included SD card, it's only like a 200 megabyte card, and which is enough for this. These always use what they call motion JPEG video. They're AVI files, but they were just blank files. They had some size to them, like 4 and 6 megabyte, but there was no extension, and I couldn't add an extension because it wouldn't let me copy it off my computer. It wouldn't let me do anything to the files, like they were locked. But putting another card in here, you can format that and get it to work, but you'll end up with a bunch of clips, a whole bunch of clips. So I never had success with that. So keep that in mind, use the app if you're going to want to record video, which is going to be very, very poor on these drones, especially, you know, just these cameras are really poor. They're just toys. All right, guys, that wraps up the review of this little DJI Neo knockoff. I think it was the GT3. Again, if you're interested in this, there'll be a purchase link down in the video description and the pinned comment to Aliexpress where you can pick this up. If you're new to the channel and you're interested in this stuff, be sure to subscribe. While you're at it, click that bell. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And as always, guys, have an awesome day.